Hey guys, we're kicking it old school like we used to, and we're doing our daily lectionary readings live. Mainly because I just got here. Ooh, I'm just flipping around. Are we still good? Okay. When my screen goes blank, it freaks me out a little bit. I think I need to get some of those masks for guys with beards, because I was just at the hospital wearing one of those paper masks, and I got mask beard. Today, lectionary. Let's move on. You don't want to hear about my facial hair issues. We have the daily lectionary reading for Holy Weeks are different. So they're more like Sundays. So in this case, for today, we've got Isaiah 42, 1 to 9, Psalm 36, 5 to 11, and then we have an epistle and a gospel. We've got Hebrews 9, 11 to 15, and John 12, 1 to 11. So strap in. We're going to be here for a minute. Isaiah 42, 1 to 9. Here is my servant, whom I uphold, my chosen, in whom my soul delights. I have put my spirit upon him. He will bring forth justice to the nations. He will not cry or lift up his voice or make it heard in the street. A bruised reed he will not break, and a dimly burning wick he will not quench. He will faithfully bring forth justice. He will not grow faint or be crushed until he's established justice in the earth, and the coastlands wait for his teachings. Thus says God the Lord, who created the heavens and stretched them out, who spread out the earth and what comes from it, who gives breath to the people upon it, and spirit to those who walk in it. I am the Lord. I have called you in righteousness. I have taken you by the hand and kept you. I have given you as a covenant to the people, a light to the nations, to open the eyes that are blind, to bring out the prisoners from the dungeon, and from the prison those who sit in darkness. I am the Lord. That is my name. My glory I give to no other, nor my praise to idols. See, the former things have come to pass, the new things I now declare. Before they spring forth, I tell you of them. All right. Let's go to Psalm 36, 5 to 11. Your steadfast love, O Lord, extends to the heavens, your faithfulness to the clouds. Your righteousness is like the mighty mountains. Your judgments are like the great deep. You save humans and animals alike, O Lord. How precious is your steadfast love, O God. All people may take refuge in the shadow of your wings. They feast on the abundance of your house, and you give them drink from the river of your delights. For with you is the fountain of life. In your light we see light. O continue your steadfast love to those who know you, and your salvation to the upright of heart. Do not let the foot of the arrogant tread on me, or the hand of the wicked drive me away. All right, Hebrews 9, 11 to 15. But when Christ came as a high priest of the good things that have come, then through the greater and perfect tent, not made with hands, that is, not of this creation, he entered once and for all into the holy place, not with the blood of goats and calves, but with his own blood, thus obtaining eternal redemption. For if the blood of goats and bulls with a sprinkling of the ashes of a heifer sanctifies those who have been defiled so that their flesh is purified, how much more will the blood of Christ, who through the eternal Spirit offered himself without blemish to God, purify our conscience from dead works to worship the living God? For this reason, he is the mediator of a new covenant, so that those who are called may receive the promised eternal inheritance, because a death has occurred that redeems them from the transgressions under the first covenant. Now this passage articulates pretty well, I think, the whole Christ died for us issue. I don't think the penal substitutionary theory is the end-all and be-all atonement theory. that is Christ died to save us from God's wrath. I don't think that. I think if you look at what's going on here, you've got the Jewish sacrificial system, which came out of, honestly, the widespread sacrificial system in that region of the world that they came out of. Right? It was just codified. It was they placed rules upon it. They limited it. No more human sacrifice, no more child sacrifice. So they took this broader cultural concept of making these bigger and better sacrifices to your gods, and they regulated it. It's the best way I can think of to put it. And then for a few thousand years, right, this is the way it's going on. That's how you got righteous to God. That's how you became ceremonially clean. That was what made you able to go into the temple to worship. And what this passage here is telling us is that Christ's death replaces, that his blood replaces all that blood of those sacrificial animals, that we don't have to do that anymore in order to come into the temple and worship and to come before God and worship. Christ's blood took care of sacrifice. No more sacrifice. One sacrifice took care of everything. And you notice there's nothing here about staving off the wrath of God. And if you look at the sacrifices in the Old Testament, there's not talking about staving off the wrath of God. It's a way to make yourself righteous. It's kind of the same thing we have with Lent. If we give up something to sacrifice, it's to make us aware of our spiritual condition and help them. And for them, it was a way to not only to make them aware. There's a passage, and I can't remember off the top of my head where it is. But it says if you're going to make a sacrifice and you realize you have something against your brother, against someone else, you go and take care of that first before you offer the sacrifice. Because offering the sacrifice without taking care of this other issue is worthless. That sacrifice doesn't do anything. So sacrificing was a way to get your own heart right and to make yourself ready to be in the presence of God and to worship God. And because of Christ's blood, his sacrifice, we don't have to do that anymore. We can just go to God. All right. I'm not a big angry God guy, in case you haven't figured that out by now. All right, John 12, 1-11. 6 days before the Passover, Jesus came to Bethany, the home of Lazarus, whom he had raised from the dead. There they gave a dinner for him. Martha served, and Lazarus was one of those at the table with him. Mary took a pound of costly perfume made of pure nard, anointed Jesus' feet, and wiped them with her hair. The house was filled with the fragrance of the perfume. But Judas Iscariot, one of his disciples, the one who was about to betray him, said, "Why was this perfume not sold for 300 denarii and the money given to the poor?" Yeah, this parenthetical expression. He said this not because he cared about the poor, but because he was a thief. He kept the common purse, and he used to steal what was put into it. Jesus said, "Leave her alone. She bought it so that she might keep it for the day of my burial. You always have the poor with you. You do not always have me." So when the great crowd of the Jews learned that he was there, they came not only because of Jesus, but also to see Lazarus, whom he had raised from the dead. So the chief priests planned to put Lazarus to death as well, since it was on account of him that many of the Jews were deserting and were believing in Jesus. I think we forget this last part. They were plotting against Lazarus. What was the last time you heard that being taught? This verse 6, this parenthetical expression about Judas, that he said this not because he cared about the poor, but because he was a thief. He kept the common purse and used to steal what was put into it. If you notice, if you go back and look at Mark and Matthew and even Luke, they don't have this sort of commentary about Judas. Um, Scholars generally believe the common consensus is the Gospel of John was written towards the end of the first century, if not at the end. So 980, 90 to 100, 110, that general neighborhood. Almost everyone agrees that the Gospel of John was written last. So some time had passed. So I think we can look and see in the immediacy they did not talk about Judas being a thief. It was just that he betrayed Christ. But by the time we get to John, they're adding in this editorial comment saying, well, he used to steal from him anyway. Yeah. If they knew he was stealing, would he have kept him around? Anyway, that's all I got for you for today. I will see you mañana, guys.